Dickinson of Amherst. The death of Miss Emily Dickinson, daughter of the late Edward Dickinson, at Amherst on Saturday, makes another sad inroad on the small circle so long occupying the old family mansion. It was, for a long generation, overlooked by that, and one passing in and out the throat of old-fashioned times, when parents and children grew up and passed maturity together, in lives of singular uneventfulness, unmarked by sad or joyous crises. Very few in the village, excepting among the older inhabitants, knew Miss Emily personally, although the facts of her seclusion and her intellectual brilliancy were familiar Amherst traditions. There are many houses among all classes into which her treasures of fruit and flowers and ambrosial dishes for the sick and well were constantly sent, that will forever miss those evidences of her unselfish consideration, and mourn afresh that she screened herself from close acquaintance. As they passed on in life, her sensitive nature shrank from much personal contact with the world, and more turned to her own large wealth of individual resources for companionship, sitting thenceforth, as someone said of her, in the light of her own fire, not disappointed with the world, not an invalid until within the past 2 years, not from any lack of sympathy, not because she was insufficient of any mental work or social career. Her endowments begin so exceptional, but the mesh of her soul, as broadening coals the body, was too rare, and the screened quiet of her own home provided the fit atmosphere for her worth and work. All that must be inviolate. One can only speak of duties beautifully done, of her gentle tillage of the rare flowers filling her conservatory, into which, as into the heavenly paradise, entered nothing that could defile, and which was every abloom in frost or sunshine. So well she knew her subtle chemistries, of her tenderness to all in the home circle, her gentlewoman's grace and courtesy to all who served in house and grounds, her quick and rich response to all who rejoiced or suffered at home, or among her wide circle of friends the world over. This side of her nature was the real entity in which she rested, so simple and strong was her instinct that a woman's heart stone in her shrine. Her talk and her writings were like no one's else, and although she never published a line, now and then some enthusiastic literary friends would turn up to Lacerny and cause a few verses surreptitiously obtained to be printed. Thus, and through other natural ways, many saw and admired her verses, and in consequence frequently notable persons paid her visit, hoping to overcome the protests of her own nature and gain a promise of occasional contribution, at least to various magazines. She withstood even the fascination of Mr. Helen Jackson, who earnestly sought her co-operation in a novel of the no-name series, although one little poem somehow strayed into the volume of verse which appeared in that series. Her page would ill have fitted even so attractive a story as Mercy Philbrick's Choice, unwilling though a large part of the literary public were to believe that she had no part in it. Her wagon was hitched to a star, and who could ride or ride with such a voyager? A Damascus blade gleaming and glancing in the sun was her wit. Her swift poetic rapture was like the long glistening note of a bird one hears in the June woods at high noon, but can never see. Like a magician, she caught the shadowy apparitions of her brain and tossed them in startling picturesqueness to her friends, who, charmed with their simplicity and homeliness as well as profundity, fretted that she had so easily made palpable the tantalizing fancies, forever eluding their bungling, fettered grasp. So intimate and passionate a part of the high March sky, the summer day and bird call. Keen and eclectic in her literary taste, she sifted libraries to Shakespeare and Browning. Quick as the last electric spark in her intuition and analysis, she seized the kernel instantly, almost impatient of the fewest word by which she must make her revelation. To her life was rich, and all aglow with good and immortality. With no creed, no formulated faith, hardly knowing the names of dogmas, she walked this life with the gentleness and reverences of all the saints, with the firm step of martyrs who sing while they suffer. How better know the flight of this soul of fire in a shell of pearl than by her own words? Morns like this we parted, noons like these she rose, fluttering first, then firmer to her fair repose.